This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Greetings viewers, you're watching Pulse of Africa. I am Simon Mohammed, bringing you today's latest news. First, here are top stories. President João Lourenço urges reparative justice and stronger Africa-Caribbean integration. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed urges stronger Africa-Caribbean ties. Senegalese president forms a new government. Now let's take a closer look at the news headlines, which give some emphasis to the second African-Caribbean Summit held in Addis Ababa on 6 and 7 September 2025. The African and Caribbean community must unite a new transcontinental alliance to pursue justice, emphasizing reparation, economic cooperation, and institutional reform, according to Angola's President João Lourenço. During the second Africa-Caribbean Summit in Addis Ababa, he emphasized that this partnership is essential for pursuing justice, particularly on issues of reparations, economic cooperation, and institutional reform. Lourenço hailed the summit as a crucial step forward, reclaiming dignity and advancing solidarity between peoples connected by a common history and blood ties. He stressed that the goal is to transform the scars of the past into bridges of solidarity, cooperation, and justice. To achieve this, the President urged member states to move beyond declarations and implement actionable strategies. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed emphasized the need to amplify collaboration between African and Caribbean regions for shared growth and prosperity. The Prime Minister made this remark while delivering a speech at the second Africa-CARICOM Summit held in Addis Ababa. He said in his speech that the collaboration between the two regions amplifies strengths and paves the way for inclusive growth and prosperity across both regions. We must speak as one, the Premier urged, stressed that the importance of unified voices in addressing global challenges. Noting the unique strengths of both regions, PM Abiy remarked Africa brings scale, natural wealth, and boundless potential, while the Caribbean offers strategic diplomacy and resilient communities. Together, he said these strengths would be multiplied for greater impact. The Prime Minister reiterated the concept of Meddamer, which means synergy, a term he coined to leverage the power of unity in action. He emphasized the synergy drives national progress through connection, culture, innovation, knowledge, and unity. At the second Africa-Caribbean Summit in Addis Ababa, the CARICOM Secretary General Carla Barnett highlighted the urgent need for a stronger partnership between the two regions to tackle shared challenges. The speech underscored the critical importance of joint advocacy on global issues, increased trade and investment, and improved transportation links. A central theme of the Secretary General's address was the shared vulnerability of Africa and the Caribbean to climate change, a crisis for which they bear minimal responsibility. We together account for approximately 6% of the global emissions, but we are bearing an inordinate burden of the impact, the Secretary General stated. She called for joint advocacy on the international financial infrastructure reform, grounded this effort in the Bridgetown Initiative to secure the necessary resources for climate resilience and adaptation. In other news from Africa, Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye on Saturday announced a new government comprising 26 ministers and 60 secretaries, retaining Ousmane Sonko as Prime Minister while replacing the Ministers of Interior and Justice. Mohamed Dao Mamba Cisse was appointed Minister of Interior and Public Security, succeeding Jean-Baptiste Tine. Yassine Fall took over Justice portfolio from Ousmane Diagne, while her former position as Minister of Foreign Affairs went to Cheikh Niang, who joined the cabinet for the first time. Oliver Bokal was named Minister of Labor, replacing Abbas Fall, who was recently elected Mayor of Dakar. Speaking to reporters, Sonko said the new cabinet was not a government of leisure, but a government of commitment and struggle. Turning to global headlines. Tens of thousands of people gathered at the Vatican on Sunday as Pope Leo XIV proclaimed the Catholic Church's first millennial saint, an Italian teenager dubbed God's influencer, for his efforts to spread the faith online. London-born Carlo Acutis, who died of leukemia in 2006 at the age of 15, was canonized in solemn ceremony in St. Peter's Square, with his family watching on. Many young people were among the crowd, which the Vatican estimated at about 80,000. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba said on Sunday he would step down after less than a year in power, during which he lost his majority in both houses of parliament. Ishiba told a news conference that the long-dominant Liberal Democratic Party should prepare for leadership election and he would stay in position until then. Now that negotiations on U.S. tariff measures have reached a conclusion, I believe this is the appropriate moment, he said. I have decided to step aside and make a way for the next generation, he said.
The story of resurgent Ethiopia and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. All the time, Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Moving on to business news. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, a group known as OPEC+, on Sunday decided to ramp up oil output by 137,000 barrels per day in October. The announcement was made after a virtual meeting where member countries, including Saudi Arabia, Russia, Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Kazakhstan, Algeria, and Oman reviewed global market conditions and outlook, according to the statement on the OPEC website. The 8 participating countries decided to implement production adjustment of 137,000 barrels per day from the 1.65 million barrels per day additional voluntary adjustment announced in April 2023, the statement said. Finally, South Africa's Altvest Capital Ltd plans to raise $210 million to buy Bitcoin and build crypto treasury reserve, seeking to benefit from a near doubling of the digital asset in the past year. The company will also change its name to Africa Bitcoin Corp, its founder and chief executive officer, Warren Whitley, said in an interview. The financial services firm, the first listed company in Africa to adopt Bitcoin as its primary treasury reserve asset, mirroring a strategy that propelled the valuation of companies such as Michael Saylor's Strategy.com and Japan's Metaplanet Inc. Altvest, which has a market value of 52.8 million rand, will hold the cryptocurrency as a core reserve asset on its balance sheet, similar to how firms traditionally own cash or gold. Before we close, here's a quick look at the latest global commodity prices updates. Next, let's take a look at the current weather forecast. That's all from Pulse of Africa today. Tomorrow we'll bring you the latest news from the second African Climate Summit, which began today and runs until Wednesday. Until then, goodbye.
This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.